Hello, everyone. We're waiting for everyone to join.
Jim, we only see the top of your head. We want to see your whole beautiful face. Shirley, you're on mute. Jim, you're on mute. Can you hear me, Hal? You're on mute. You're on mute also. You can't hear me? I'm okay. It says I'm not on mute.
Okay, Jay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I just unmuted. If everyone goes to the bottom left of the screen, they can unmute.
Mine is on the top. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yep. Hear you, Sandy.
Okay, hi. How are you, Jay?
Good. How you?
Bored to tears, but I'm fine.
No kidding.
Who isn't, right?
There he is. Hi, Jim.
There
Hi,
he
Holly.
is.
How are you?
All right, Jay, I think you should do like the tap dance or something for everybody so we can get over the boredom.
Yeah.
So I put a light on my face so I look brighter than I'm really.
You look beautiful, Jim. Shirley, unmute. Press the unmute.
Yeah.
I think I've got it. Can anybody hear me?
There
Yeah.
you are.
Oh, Wayne, we can't hear you.
You just don't want to hear me, Al, that's all.
What'd you
We hear
say?
your curly tones.
What'd you
Yeah.
say?
Oh, Shirley.
Sandy, lower your laptop.
Shirley, you're still on mute.
Yeah, Arlene's gonna call her now and walk her through it.
Can you see me now?
Yes, perfect.
I'm trying to hide my double chin.
No, don't do it. Don't make any changes. You're perfect as you are.
And we're all at our best this week.
Oh, yeah.
You're still on mute, Shirley.
Hal, I lost my suntan.
Huh? You look great.
Ah,
Well, you look younger.
yeah,
Yeah, you look terrific.
that's a good thing.
We're trying to walk Shirley through the steps to unmute.
Was she having problems again? Okay, so who's here?
Just
There are
6 of
only
us,
6
right?
people.
We have 6 of us and Marvin.
Well, look at the bright side. We just need one more for a quorum.
I see Shirley.
Here, I just saw you go out, but now you're back on again. Okay, where's your button? Hit the screen.
Why is it saying waiting for her when she's on?
Hi, Ann. I like your background.
Hi, Mickey.
Is that the
And
same
still in
thing?
San Francisco?
And you're on mute. And you're on mute.
Man,
I am. I'm still in San Francisco.
it looks like a beautiful day out there.
It's gorgeous.
How do you do that? Can we do that?
Yeah, you could.
We
At least she's
tried.
sitting. Last time she looked like she was jumping off the bridge. I was so worried for her.
Oh, Hal, your house is pretty, Hal.
Oh, come on over. Put the mask on now.
I I just went to Jerusalem just to bother you guys.
Wow, look at
Oh,
Jim.
cool.
Wow.
Mickey,
Except that
Mickey,
it
you're on
distorts-
mute also.
It distorts the face somewhat.
It
so.
distorts the face, but how did you do that?
You look around on the web for a picture that you like. I figured.
Alan,
Jerusalem
you're on
is good.
mute.
And then you save it, and then you go down to the lower left-hand corner where it says stop video,
Uh-huh.
and press on the up arrow to the right, and you save that image.
Unmute?
I'm sorry?
Anybody hear me?
We hear you.
Yes.
Yes, Alan, we can hear you.
Yep, 5 by 5.
Hi.
All right, I'm in mute to the virus anyway, so if you want, I'll go
Hello,
over.
Phyllis. Hello, Alan.
The virus don't like Cubans.
Robert is on mute also.
It's not mine. Read my lips.
Yeah,
Oh, very good, Shirley.
Very
Fine.
good.
Lips.
Shirley, let's take our first,
Working.
let's take our first vote. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say.
Oh my God, we finally saw
fan
Tish instead of the blind.
Is he
We
on?
had two views of Hal there for a second.
Hal, you want to meet me in the middle of the street?
For what?
Oh,
Mine
Mary,
is not
Mary, you're
working.
on mute.
Just-
Arlene, you're not coming in with me. Arlene's trying to get you up and running there, Cheryl.
Hal, if you want, I'll give you one of my headsets because you sound like you're in an echo chamber.
Cheryl, you're up and running now? You're okay?
No, I'm
You-
calling you.
No, don't call, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
You're
We
fine.
can hear you
Joe.
fine, Shirley.
Because I'm on my regular phone. I'm not on.
Doesn't matter.
We see you.
Oh,
Hi,
but she's
Bill.
saying she's on her phone.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
And we can see you.
Okay, but can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah,
We can see you and
I
hear
don't
you.
see Anybody?
We don't
I've
see
got-
You
any
need to turn on your video.
video.
The circle
So
going.
join video. Is there a thing that says join video?
Yes, I'm on join with video.
Hi, Mary.
Hello.
Perfect. Phyllis
Mine is, I have a
praying.
big black
Let's be quiet,
square,
Phyllis is praying.
Robert.
big black square with a circle.
Phyllis.
Big circle.
Maybe she's not hearing.
Shirley, why don't we do this? Arlene's
that?
gonna call you,
Yes.
you go out, and she's gonna walk you through going on again.
I tried it twice already.
Yeah, but we see you now and we hear you.
She can't see
Yeah, but
anyone in here.
No, I don't see anybody. I just have a big black square in the
You
middle of
don't know
my.
how fortunate you are.
Yeah, really. I didn't put makeup on.
you're not
Shirley, that's
missing much.
actually me.
Arlene, come outside.
Oh my God, I see Rob.
Is Robert breathing?
There is a motion to keep Tish
Robert's in bed.
on mute.
Or else recline.
Arlene, going out.
Hey, Robert, your picture's cockeyed. That's a picture.
Now, the picture's straight. Robert's cockeyed.
Yeah, I
Robert's
think he's in bed.
Robert's still celebrating Passover Seder. He's reclining.
Arlene, I'm coming out.
All right, so Arlene's gonna come out and help you.
Putting on gloves.
Hi, Arlene.
Oh my God, is this what the world looks like?
Yeah. While she has her gloves on, anyone need an exam or you're all
Oh
okay?
my God, this is wonderful outside.
Oh, you should come sit outside.
Arlene, where are you?
She's leaving right now. Shirley.
This is the best fun I've had in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Social distance.
Very easy.
It works well.
Where is she? Here she comes. Here she comes.
Hey, Lenny.
Yeah, where is Lenny?
Yes.
You'll
Yeah,
see
That-
that there's a black square.
Robert, are you in bed?
Okay, hold on for a second. Hi, Marvin, are you there?
Look that way.
Did you go out? I want you to. No, I'm on.
Robert's still on mute. You gotta unmute, Robert.
One
Can anybody
second.
hear me?
Marvin is on mute.
That's where Robert should stay.
Yeah, hang on for a second. I'll ask him to call you.
Waiting,
Hold
I'm
on.
gonna go out and then come back in.
All right, is Marvin Sherry there?
Yes, he is. but he's black.
Marvin is muted, yes.
I'm going out of
Marvin,
this.
can you call Lenny Kaplan up?
How do you get out?
Here,
Maybe
here,
because I
give
have
me, give
my-
me. This is what I've been having the whole time.
Just get out. Except.
So that it doesn't even let me.
No, you're out now.
You're still on. You're still on. Don't you hear them? Wait, look,
Just-
look.
See, that's what I
Yeah.
get.
Oh, you're on now?
Okay. Where's your email? Wait,
My
I want to
Zoom.
get
Let me see if I can see you.
No,
Hold on.
I want to get you out because you can't get back in without. getting
Shirley, you look different.
out. She really has a problem on this phone.
Tell me what it says.
Tell her to call Marvin. He got me on.
No. It's not a problem of getting her on. She can't get out of this, and it just says waiting, and it's pixelating. But I
I
can't
had to shut
No.
get out.
No,
everything.
but I see Marvin Sherry.
Yeah, listen to what Phyllis is saying. You may have to shut everything down.
So let me turn off the phone totally.
That's
Yeah,
what I
Marvin?
had to do. I had to shut everything
I
down.
see you
and restart.
muted. Can you call Lenny Kaplan, Marvin?
Arlene, turn her whole phone off and turn it back on.
Wait.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're
Okay,
doing.
okay.
Don't this is Zoom. Would you let me just do this? Hold on.
Yeah, he's not answering me, so I'm not sure what's going on.
You know, we should start 15 minutes earlier just to get this stuff all done with for the meeting.
Mary, can you hear me?
Yeah.
As a side note, on your street, you know a guy that moved in
Why don't you
March,
start
Bucksbaum,
again?
Stephen
Why don't
Bucksbaum?
you get out and start again?
Wow, I can't hear
And
you.
stay with me. Stay with me.
Alan's talking. What about him? What about a guy?
Oh, he is a guy that moved in on your street in March, Stephen Bucksbaum.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know?
I met him. Not impressed.
No, huh?
He's gonna run for the board next year. That's the first thing he told me. I said,
First
good.
and foremost, you guys, let me inform you that you have 70 participants on here. So FYI, everyone should know that you have other residents listening to our conversation.
Thanks, Hal. I'm gonna kill you.
And
Oh,
just,
a little
I
too
didn't
late.
say anything bad.
No, I don't know. He seems nice. I don't know. I only met him briefly.
Everybody's nice, Mary.
Yeah, right.
to follow up what Ann told you, we are on the HP website. People are watching us on our website right now.
So
Oh, how
in
nice.
other words, you're not going to pick your nose.
Excuse me, Robert, are you sick?
What?
Robert, are you sick?
No, I'm tired.
Oh,
From doing what?
fix your picture.
I've been up since 4:30.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
He was competing with me, that's what it is.
Where am I?
Lenny, you're on now. We can see and hear you. Talk.
Okay, I'm on.
I see you, yes.
The upper corner, okay.
Yeah, you're there. Okay.
Full speed ahead. Hi, everybody. Okay.
Hi, Lenny.
How you doing?
Arlene, can you hear us?
We can't see you though. We can hear you, but we can't
Yes.
see.
You can't see. Okay.
I'm right next to Al up there.
It says a video on her, so I don't know why.
Got the black box.
I know, but at least you could see them.
Okay, I have a black, thank you. I have a black box with a circle going around it, so I can't see you.
It's all right, you don't need to see us, Cheryl.
So we see you. And we can-
Marvin has a black box with a circle too. Can you see Marvin?
No,
Arlene, there should be a join audio box for Shirley. Look for a
No,
join
you know what?
audio.
Now I can't even hear.
Marvin
I
has
can't
a
hear.
mute on his thing.
Marvin.
Marvin has a mute.
Yeah, Marvin's on mute purposely. He knows. You may need to
Okay.
go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear Shirley. You
I can't hear you.
can't hear
We
me?
can see you.
I get like a whisper.
Shirley, see if you can find a join audio
No,
button.
there's something wrong with it,
no.
with mine. Okay, is everybody here?
No, Marvin.
Marvin's here. Marvin's here.
Oh,
He'll turn on his camera in a second.
Well, you look good with a black box on your face, Ann. Oh, there's Mickey with the same black box. It's just a black square.
So I don't know why you're not getting.
Okay,
No.
folks, is everyone here?
We're here.
No, you know what? I can barely hear. This is not working for me.
Put your volume up, Shirley.
Hey, Jim, we can't see you.
Do you see the note from Harvey Shapiro?
No button in Shirley's settings.
He's got it
Turn up
all.
the
Or even
volume.
on the keyboard, you know, if she
No,
uses
not in
it.
the application. On the phone, it's,
Just that she's got something going around the center of her screen that says. wait.
Shirley, Ann is coming to give you a hand.
Okay.
So we're gonna wait to start the meeting, right?
yes.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Lenny?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you.
We're waiting on Shirley.
Okay. Hey, Mickey, I don't know what happened this morning, but I'm nice and clear now with everybody.
Al, it's probably
you
the
were
the rocket panel on the iPhone. On the side.
I can
Right
hear you
over
very,
here.
very mutely, very quietly.
What about?
See over here?
Yeah,
If
How
Shirley
come
can
Marvin
see
is
it,
really
that's
changed
where it
it?
is. That's volume,
No, but that's not, Shirley's volume
right
is
there.
up.
yeah, Shirley's volume is up.
I could hear you perfectly.
Well, then it's not that.
It's gotta be a
No, I
setting
have a,
on her
oh,
phone.
Robert, now I see up your nose.
Wow.
But I,
You were better off when you couldn't see anything.
But if you can hear us, the volume is,
barely.
yeah, but that means your volume is low.
Yeah,
Somewhere
it-
on an iPhone is a setting for audio.
Yes,
Have
yes,
Arlene or Ann find that setting
Yes,
and turn up
yes.
the volume.
Yeah, you go into settings and turn up your volume.
Wait a minute, volume.
hold it, hold it, hold it.
It's
Okay,
here.
how's that?
Can you hear? Can you hear now?
Yes, but
Right there.
everybody still has a black box in front of their face. All right,
Be better off that way.
Yeah, look at it as a blessing.
everybody here?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here. We're here. Jimmy, there's Jimmy.
Yeah,
I thought you were in Jerusalem or something.
I was.
Okay.
It was a very quick flight.
Okay.
No, you're
every-
not supposed to lay down in these meetings,
The
Robert.
time's 2:14, and I'm calling the April agenda meeting to order.
Thank goodness.
All right, so everyone received a packet for the agenda meeting.
Wait, my doorbell. Wait, my doorbell.
You go get mine.
Who is it?
Sure, it's not a crook.
Look what's happening now. Wait. Black box there. I'm telling you, black box. So what is it looking for?
There's a thief has just moved into Shirley's house.
Shirley just left. Who is that,
Good thing we
Shirley?
have an extra minute.
That's Shirley.
That's Ann. That's Ann.
Saying that's not sure. Yes, it is.
My
It's
goodness.
saying waiting, but I don't know what it's waiting for.
Certainly is a lot of stuff.
Maybe they look better with the black box.
We having lunch?
Marvin,
Yes.
something with your phone.
See you and
Just-
hear you.
We see Shirley.
You hear?
We see you.
Yeah, I hear
fine.
you. Ann, you want to just close the app and open it again? See if that
Yeah.
works?
And is there some volume in this program and application? And
She has an old iPhone, Robert.
I know,
Yeah,
but if Shirley can hear
Yes.
us, but she can't hear us loudly, It's not this application. It's got to be the settings on her
Right, she
phone.
gotta.
Yeah, and
exactly. She
settings,
gotta go to
there's
settings
sound.
in her phone.
Right, because she's getting audio through the application. It's just the volume's too low. So wherever the settings button is on the iPhone, find it and look for volume and raise it.
No offense, Robert, you look like you're in bed.
Isn't the settings button on the side of the iPhone?
Yeah, there's another setting though. Inside settings.
Okay.
I don't know, Ann, I'm looking at you. I think you should go on the Masked Singer show.
No, hold on.
We have a lot of stand-up comics here in this group.
No, we're sitting more, Mickey. We're sitting. We're sitting. If they can hear.
This one, too. Go back to it real quick. Hold on. Okay, can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Here you go, Julie.
Success.
You see us?
Yep.
All right.
Okay. We're in
It wasn't
business.
me, it wasn't me. I want you to know that. Ann will tell you. Okay, who wants coffee? Who wants tea?
I'm having a Dr.
Okay,
Pepper.
once again, we're gonna start the meeting. Okay, April agenda meeting.
All right, so first item is the cafe. The operator, Labano and Associates, requested that because of COVID-19, that the association not charge them any of the fees that the association usually charges them, which is certain items like fuel, repairs, and other miscellaneous fees. I attached the email that Mario sent for everyone to see. Ward, it's yours.
However, since we received that email, what happened in the interim was that Mario decided, he thought he'd close up. He decided to open between 10 and 2. And then we started advertising. We robocall every week. I put it into the connection whenever we can. So things started to pick up for him. He has not mentioned this since. So I don't know whether we still need to address this.
Because his request is a month old.
Pardon me?
His request is a month old.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He has not brought this up since we started. Actually, he thanked us for the robocalls, the advertisements every week, and business did start to pick up for them. So he hasn't said anything. I don't know whether he'll follow up with this. How much money are we talking about, Marvin? You know?
I do not know exactly.
Yeah, I think we need to get a feel for what these bills are. Fuel, what's his average fuel bill?
Hal, your volume is no good. We can't hear you well.
Really?
And now I'm just seeing,
Yeah, April meeting.
Why did
the April meeting come up?
I don't.
Yeah, the April.
It's on share screen mode.
Marvin put that on.
The agenda, it's the agenda.
Yeah, but why did it come up? It's right.
Marvin put it on.
That's Marvin.
Obviously.
I have it on my computer, so it's a larger size.
And now it's gone.
If you prefer not to see it, that's fine.
We have it in front of us.
Okay, then let's proceed.
Well,
So
The
then,
question,
It's
so
my
Mario's
opinion.
request, what are we doing with that? We're not doing anything at this point?
I think personally, he hasn't said anything since this email, which was March, I don't have,
18th.
March 18th. My suggestion would be, let's see if he emails us again with the same request.
I agree.
But you know, we won't get to this for another month if he does send an email. I would just say that if we need to help him, let's help him. That's my opinion.
Yeah, but
We don't have to do it right now, but if another email comes in, we're not gonna meet again for another month. So let's just, give her the opportunity for Shirley to.
Both Marvin and I have had correspondence and I've spoken to him. He's never brought it up since this email.
Okay.
So
So
leave
what
it
we're
at that.
talking about here, he pays half the repair costs and the
Yes.
fuel? Does he
That's
pay
correct.
half the fuel, Marvin?
No, he pays 100% of the fuel
So he doesn't want to pay for fuel going forward? Is that what he's saying?
and other fees, yes.
If he's not cooking, he's not using fuel.
They are using fuel.
He's cooking for takeout orders.
It's only 4 hours a day, though.
No, this is from 10 to 2 that he's open and they are using all the facilities.
I think before we can make a decision, we need to know what the amount of these bills are. Are we talking $10 or $10,000? Who knows?
Agreed.
In any case, there should be an expiration on it, not open-ended.
Right. You don't want to give a blank check and you don't want to give an open-ended check, right?
It seems reasonable to me to make the expiration when he opens the cafe for seating again.
Yeah.
That could
Probably
be
works.
I think at this moment, we should wait for more correspondence from him in reference to this.
Okay.
Yeah,
I bet you it's not a lot of money, gotta tell you.
Not since he opened from 10 to 2, he didn't mention this. Although the income is a third, he's still making something. And obviously, he's not overly perturbed by this because he hasn't said anything.
And he's guaranteed to get the amount of money that we have in our budget, the $190-something thousand.
That has nothing to do with this.
No, it doesn't.
I know, but that's his base.
That's his
He's
income.
guaranteed that.
Listen, he's not a small-time
I said-
operator. He's got many different cafes that he runs.
Hello, excuse me. You
Go
know
ahead,
what?
Shirley.
I don't think we need to bring it to the board for a vote on Monday. I think this can wait until we speak to Mario in a few weeks and see what he actually wants, if anything.
All
Makes
right, we
sense.
have one of the attendees who has a question.
Pardon me?
We have someone with a question. Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right, so we had
Are
someone
you
with
looking
a
for
question.
questions? Are you looking for questions from the people not on the board?
There was Richard Nellis who had a question.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay. Are you looking to hear from people who are not on the board?
Yes, go ahead.
I tend to agree with Shirley. That it doesn't seem to be necessary to make an issue out of the cafe until we have some more information.
We got it. That's what we're doing.
So let's not put it on the agenda for Monday.
That's
All
what
right,
I'm.
so we proceed.
Don't have it as a, yeah, just proceed, put this to the side. Let's see what progresses with the cafe and Mario will definitely let us know if he wants any.
Agreed.
All right, next item, rules and regulations.
Okay, this rules and regulations. We have different attorneys on different phases. And each phase needs to get approval from their attorney before all of this can go through. Marvin, you want to explain, please?
So it's pretty simple because you have 5 associations. Each association would need their attorneys, especially phase 1 and phase 4 who are not using Dan Wasserstein, would need their attorneys to agree with the changes and each board would need to vote individually on the rules and regulations. Providing that goes through, only then that new book with the changes that will be made can be published. So Dan Wasserstein is suggesting to have a phone call on either Wednesday 22nd or Thursday 23rd, anytime after 2 p.m. to discuss those different options so that the boards know what exactly to ask their respective attorneys.
Marvin, I had a question when I read, can you hear me now, Alan? Can you hear me?
Not loud.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, I'll try to move it a little closer. My question on this letter from Wasserstein, he refers to the rules document and then talks about language regarding non-resident, non-guest use of facilities constituting a material alteration.
Yeah,
Am I reading that right? That doesn't sound correct to me.
A has nothing to do with B.
Yeah. That doesn't sound correct.
No.
And this is what he would like to explain to everyone so you have an understanding. I'm sure there's a reason behind it.
So you want us to get our attorney on board for this and phase 4 to get their attorney on board? That, you know, I mean, this is money.
Yeah, but Phyllis, every board, we all agreed on the rules and regulations, but every attorney needs to see what's in there before it's okay for publication.
Phyllis, I think you have to have each attorney at least look at it and sign off on behalf of the phase.
Attorney has to review it. It's all done. Everything is done. We just have to make sure we're in compliance with everything.
Well, obviously, he's stating that there's language regarding non-residents, non-guests to use the facilities. A non-resident and a non-guest to me would be an owner.
I missed what you
Right?
said.
How does that become a material alteration?
That's the part that I don't understand. How does that become a material alteration?
Are
Yes,
we waiting until we get the information back from Wasserstein before we submit it to our attorneys?
I think that's wise. If you wait, you hold the meeting with Wasserstein, understand what he's looking for and what he will suggest to the individual phases, especially phase 1 and 4, because 2 and 3 already have Dan Wasserstein as attorneys. And from that point, you can notify your respective attorneys and they'll tell you how to proceed.
All right.
Do you
So
want to
when
just
is
have
the
a conference
recommendation?
call with someone from each phase and Wasserstein next week, and then each phase can make a determination as to whether they want to bring it to their attorney?
Well, the only issues that come to the attorney is the phase issues. He's not going to review the HPA.
No, he has not. This is not phase. This is HPA.
Right.
So why should our attorney
With the
review an HPA issue?
Because it also involves.
The rules and regulations are for both the
Affects
phases.
everybody.
You're right, but there may be a conflict between attorneys. If one attorney interprets it this way and another interprets
And it can be approved.
another way. We need a little more clarification, you're right, Hal, before we do anything. So, I agree with that.
Yeah, I would like specifics of what he is
Right.
objecting
Absolutely,
to.
okay.
If you want to set
All
up a
right, so-
conference call, Marvin, I have no problem sitting in on the conference call if that's what the board wants, and I'll talk with you and.
It will
No,
be-
I
it
think
will-
he
it
wants
will
a
be
meeting
via
with the
conference.
board.
Yes, it will be
Yes, you-
via conference, either the 22nd or the 23rd. Which date works for you?
After 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
Which
It
day
would
works
have
for me.
the 22nd.
I'm busy watching
Wednesday.
grass grow and paint dry these days. I think I can accommodate either day.
Wednesday,
yeah.
the 2nd. What time, Marvin?
Anytime after 2.
Isn't that logic? You guys?
Is this the 22nd?
Yes, can we get specifics before then of what he's objecting to? Because I don't want to sit here while he explains it to us. I want to digest it first, so I have a feel for what he's referring to.
I will send a request right now.
And can I make one more suggestion, Marvin? When we do schedule this meeting, if we're going to do it by Zoom, let's not have him join the meeting until we have all of our technological stuff worked out, so we're not paying
Yeah.
for sitting time.
Good
So
idea.
my suggestion would be if we set the meeting at 2 o'clock for everyone to at least join by 1:45.
That's fine.
That's a good idea.
That's
Or
fine.
with this group by
Right,
1:30.
Yeah, 1:30 maybe.
Yeah, 1:30.
All right, so 1:30 on April 22nd.
You have to send us an invitation, right?
Yeah,
Yes, I will send an invitation to everyone. So it will be April 22nd. For Dan Wasserstein, that will be 2 p.m., but for everyone here, that will be 1:30.
Right,
And we'll get
1:30 or 1:45?
1:30.
1:30.
Okay.
I think it took us about a half an hour this time, didn't it? Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Okay.
Al, if you have a microphone volume on your computer.
Okay, next.
I did. I turned it all the way
We
up.
go to section C.
All right, next item, clubhouse roof. We,
This is very involved.
yes. So first of all, just a quick update. The roof cleaning was completed just the other day. If you notice, the clubhouse, the pool houses, the guard houses, all the roofs have been cleaned. They also pressure washed the walls, so the walls are a bit brighter and nicer. So we received a proposal from RAI for specifications for the clubhouse flat roof replacement or coating and tile roof replacement or repair. RAI would like to meet with the board to explain those. So if you recall, you had a meeting with RAI about, I don't know, maybe over a month ago.
February 16th.
Correct. So they did, they present January 16th. That's more than a month ago. So they presented the general idea. Right now that there's the proposal to repair or replace, they would like to, Danny Stokes, that's his name, would like to explain more in detail what these proposals are. Everyone receive a copy of these proposals, the idea behind them.
He was at our meeting.
Yes, this guy. So you have the proposal, so you have an idea behind them. Now there's one concern is that there's potentially the clubhouse renovation, and with that we don't know what may happen with the roof. So we want to make sure that the plan for the roof and the plan for the roof concerning the renovation and any repairs that will be done are in sync. However, regardless of all this, we currently have a leak in the clubhouse right now. And that leak also created mold in the office hallway. We had the mold removed about last week. Today we had mold testing completed. We're waiting on the report on that. So that roof leak, regardless of what's done on the big scheme, needs to be addressed first. I don't have a number for that yet, but so far the contractor's talking about $4 to $5 grand.
Marvin,
I
I have a question.
Excuse me, I'd like to.
Marvin, is Danny Stokes the only consultant we have looking at the roof?
Yes.
Well, we had, phase 2 has had some experience with Mr. Stokes. And to say the least, what we found was that his recommendations were very, very, very ambitious. And we cautioned the board to look at options as far as Mr. Stokes is concerned. And I don't know how Jim and Wayne feel about that, but that was our experience.
I'm glad you brought it up.
You know what? I went through this, and actually last night, Hal and I went through it quite carefully. And I just had one big question mark. 10,000 here, 7,000 there. And I'm looking through this and we're reading this. And as Jay said, it's very ambitious. We need somebody else.
I think we need to get the architect that we've hired for the reno involved with this. This has nothing to do with the leak over the offices. That has to be repaired.
Yes, the leak needs to be addressed.
Immediately.
It will be addressed.
However, what we choose to do with the roof has to be in sync with what the architect is planning, because from the schematics that showed us the beginning of March in the theater, they had made the skylight smaller, which impacts our cooling costs. And we don't know what he was going to do or what in his mind they were thinking of doing. And I think we need to have the architect.
Phyllis,
Before
if you
what
recall,
to do.
Phyllis, what I'm suggesting is not the architect. What I'm suggesting is that we should consider another consultant.
Yes, but we should still also pull in the architect.
But that will happen
I'm not
regardless.
suggesting we don't, but we need another consultant.
Yes, I agree with
Yes,
both of you.
we do. Yes.
Can
I agree.
Can I ask you a question, Phyllis? Does the architect, is it premature, or does the architect have certain general contractors in mind? And the reason I ask is because I look at this proposal and it's about $50,000 just for consulting. Well, a general contractor is gonna give you what he's giving you for $50,000 as part of their general contracting deal.
Well,
before they
that's
hire
right.
their own roofer.
The architect now is supposed to be contacting people that firms that he feels will be a good fit for us as far as being a contractor.
Well, personally, I think we spend the
Yeah.
4,000, get the roof Band-Aid approach right now, get the roof fixed so there's no more leaks, and not do anything else until we get a general contractor involved, and then that's incorporated in part of his contract. So we're not paying $50,000 extra for a consultant.
And the roof, part of the roof is part of the reno.
Yes.
So that becomes
yeah.
part of the assessment. So it's not, the outlay that you're thinking it's going to be.
Correct.
There is money in the reserves. I just don't know which pile to choose to figure out where my
We don't need a consultant at this point.
But exactly, I think we have $250,000, right, Marvin, for the roof somewhere?
I don't recall the number, but it's close to that, yes.
Close to that, yeah. So most of that will be covered. But I mean, to repair things that are going to be eliminated due to the downsizing of the skylight, to me,
No, Phyllis, you're absolutely correct. Phase two, when we talked to Danny Stokes, we listened to what he had to say. Then we went to a vendor who did the repair work. He's in the process of doing it now. And the entire process is going to be marginally more than what his consulting fees were. Jay's absolutely right. Danny Stokes comes through. He gives you an absolute Class A look at what could potentially go wrong with your roofs and gives you the highest level of repair. And it's not what we need at this point, especially with the renovation happening next year.
You know what?
And we're going to redo the work anyway.
There's a word that we use frequently, and it's premature.
It's premature. And also,
That's my word, and I have that word copyrighted.
My suggestion to the board is, regardless of the approach, I highly recommend getting a professional in roofing, not just a contractor, either a consultant and engineer, to provide specs on how to address this. I heard a number of 50,000. Both of their proposals from RAI are not 50,000. One is about 9,000. That's one approach. The other one is 22,000. That's another approach. He gave the board two suggestions on how to proceed. And in all of them, they include multiple site visits to check the scope of the project. One of them include 15 inspections. The other one include 22 inspections.
22.
While RAI is a good roofing consultant, you do not necessarily have to go with RAI. There are 100 more out there, but I would caution the board on having just the contractors come up with a suggestion.
I agree with Marvin.
So no one said anything about the
that does make
contractors.
sense,
We're
too.
talking about a general contractor working with the architect. Once we know what the roof is going to have to look like, and then that's the time to do this consulting. In the meantime, I think we have a more immediate approach, and that is to stop any further damage to the roof and get that fixed.
right. Separate
Okay,
issue.
I just wanted to add one thing. I agree with everything that was said. Phyllis, if you remember, Stokes recommended no skylight, and the architect is recommending just a smaller version of a skylight. And Stokes explained to us why he doesn't think we should have any skylight, if you remember that.
but the people seem to like the skylight.
I'm not saying people don't like the skylight, but he gave us some structural reasons why we would be better off with no skylight. I'm just throwing that into the mix.
Right.
Hey, Hal, your microphone, it's not a question of volume, it's a question of clarity. It's muffled. And it almost sounds like there's like a piece of Scotch tape over the microphone input.
Take that tape off.
Is that any better? Not really, Jay.
No.
I'm sorry?
Right, so as Hal works out his microphone issue, would you like to set up a meeting with RAI on presenting these two proposals, or would you like to stand by on that for now?
Stand by.
Stand by. Let's get somebody
Hold
else.
off.
And stand by at this moment.
Hold
But
off.
get the leak fixed.
Well, the leak we have to have fixed regardless.
Yeah, you don't have
It's
to.
a work in progress.
Okay.
So we'll ratify that.
This meeting is whether we're gonna bring it before the board next week, and so let's not do that, right? We got,
Besides, Stokes didn't give me any warm and fuzzy feelings when he came in. I think we ought to look at other options when the time comes when we need a consultant.
it's not for the board.
Other consultants, in other words.
Yes.
Another opinion.
All right, so then let's move to the next item, which is, I just included a picture for you guys to review, but that's number D in your list. Is the picture of the mold issues we're currently having. They are addressing that, so we can just quickly skip by that real,
Wait,
and
wait,
to
where are you going to? Are you going to D?
D. We spoke about that already. That's just a picture of the issues that we currently have.
Okay, so now we're going to
Marvin, I don't know, if you can't hear me, I apologize. I'm trying my hardest here. The $4,000 or so figure that you gave us to repair the roof is just the roof. Do we still have repairs inside the office as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
that is correct.
Okay,
I
do you
didn't
have
hear what he said.
any cost?
Yeah, there's
estimate on
damage
that?
inside. Needs to be
Yes.
repaired as well.
There's damage inside. If you look at the picture on your screen right now,
Yeah.
this whole area there was mold on the top corner in 2 rooms in the offices, the hallway, and by the conference room.
And is
And
there
above
a
the
cost
ceiling, I
estimate?
assume.
Yeah, is there a cost estimate on that, or can we do that temporarily in-house?
No, we have to get mold remediation done. We can't do that in-house. And that
So
was
after the mold remediation, what about the regular repairs?
Right.
the regular repairs, we have a drywall contractor that takes care of that.
Are there any roof issues there that need to be addressed as well, though? besides
Yes,
that?
there's an actual roof leak, and we're getting that repaired as well.
Okay.
All right, so we can move to the next item, which is the pool. We receive a proposal from Delray Awning to address the canvas at the pools. So
Okay.
the
Marvin.
west pool, yes?
Oh, excuse me, I just wanted to say something. You have the east pool and the west pool. What happened to the north pool?
So the north pool was changed just recently. So the north pool canvas is very new. There's
Okay,
no
but if
issues.
you want to be consistent and have the same canvases for all the pools, I think we should get a quote, please.
Well, then let me address that. So currently right now you have a problem with the west pool and the east pool. The west pool is completely ripped and the east pool is soon to be ripped as well. So the proposal for both of them come to a total of $7,300, and that includes painting the metal frame as well. However, there was a suggestion, and I'll let Hal talk about that. There was a suggestion to potentially switch to a different type of covering, which you can see on your screen right now. And of course, not this color, not this specific style. So, but is just to change the triangular look that you have right now to something a little bit more modern and fancy. So I'll let Hal talk about that.
Yeah, I spoke to Marvin a few weeks back. Marvin, let me preface what I'm saying by saying that you guys have done a wonderful job in terms of sprucing up those car stops, and the paint that's being applied really adds a little pop to the parking lots and makes the whole place look nice. And in walking around, I'm
I
noticing.
second that motion. Yeah.
And in walking around and riding around the complex with my mask on, I do notice there are certain pools that don't have pavers, they have concrete. And that concrete is chipping, it's peeling, it's fading, it looks horrible. And to me, the best, we may never get a better time to work on our pools than right now, when there's no foot traffic, there's no possibility of water interfering with any paint, there's nobody using the pools. I think we should take advantage. And since we already have some repairs that need to be done in terms of these, the eaves, the overhangs, I think we should make an all-out effort to paint the decks. It's not going to be that costly. We can get them done in a relatively quick period of time. It's something we're going to have to do anyway, but I'd hesitate to wait and then have to close the pool again once we open it to do that. And while we're doing that, I had given Marvin, and Marvin, I appreciate you looking into that on these overhangs. If you take a look at some pictures from some complexes around here, they're all being done, and I don't think it costs that much more than repairing what we have now. It'll give a whole new look to the pools. It'll give an upscale look to the pools. And the good thing is those are held together by simple clips. If you have to remove them for any reason, a hurricane or something, it's a relatively, it's totally inexpensive job and a relatively simple job to remove them and then hook them back up. I think at the end of the day, for a few $1,000s a pool, when we reopen the pools, it'll give a wow factor to the entire community for not a whole lot of money.
I agree.
So is it more effective, Hal, than the?
We've talked about this already.
Yep.
But go ahead. Sorry.
It seems to me that there's more open space on top.
Right.
The current ones cover the whole area on the bottom. But
Right.
These things.
So that,
Is it more? Is it as effective or
Yeah,
less?
it's a good
But
point.
they
I think you have to speak to the contractor. They can cantilever them so that you really don't, it looks open, but you don't have the sun coming through. It's how they cantilever them when they erect them.
Okay, so you feel it's effective as the one we have now?
Yeah, and quite frankly, the resorts that I've been to, the nicer resorts that I've been to in the last 3, 4, 5 years, all use those. They're all going up in the complexes all around us. It is a state-of-the-art type thing, and it gets it away from that 1955 Catskill look.
Yeah.
Will that work with the fans, Hal?
Hmm?
Will that
Work
work
with
with
the
the
fans.
fans that we have?
That's a good question. That's something that should be brought up with the awning company. They may be able to still run that line across or put them and hang the fans. It's a great question. I don't know the answer.
You would need to have different type of fans, but you still can
Right.
have fans.
Oh, okay.
but Hal, if you're gonna do that to the two pools, then you'd have to do it to the north pool.
I
Otherwise,
said that already.
yeah,
I
for
just,
sure.
I just
Okay.
said-
Well, yeah, if they're
Get
gonna
the
change
proposal.
it to this, you have to
Yeah.
do all
Okay,
of them.
and the main pool, I think we should leave until we see what the overall clubhouse is going to do, because part of the cafe is going to be integrated into that area. So again, like the roof consideration, we don't want to do something and have to knock it down and redo it.
First, we'll go with the north pool. The main pool, we cannot touch until we know exactly, we're putting in the barbecue, we're having outdoor dining. So
Right.
until that's complete, we don't know what type of coverings we'll need for the pool. But we can go with the other three pools.
Right. Marvin, do you have any idea in terms of paint costs? I was running some quick numbers myself. I think we're looking at a deck coverage of what, about 8,000 or 10,000 square feet on each pool?
Very likely.
And you get 400 square feet to a gallon of paint. So if you have 8,000, you're looking at, what, 200? You're looking at 20 gallons. 20 gallons at $50 a gallon, you're looking at about $1,000 in paint.
Not sure what the cost would be, but if it's something the board is interested in, as I sent you in an email, we currently are finishing the carports, and then we will be moving to the buildings. We're doing the floors at the buildings. I believe they're starting today or perhaps tomorrow.
That's
If we do have time, providing on how things continue with COVID-19, then that will be the next project we start doing. And now the decision would have to be, which one are we doing first? The deck, the railings, or the coping? And that's entirely up to the board.
Well, if you're gonna do everything, my suggestion is you do the overhangs first, because that might require them drilling something into the concrete or re-drilling something. And you don't wanna freshly paint the deck and then have them re-drill again.
Correct. Hal, there's a question for you. Which local communities have these pool coverings?
Oh, it was in the Palm Beach Post the other day. I'll see if I have it still. I'll get you that information. There was a nice picture in the Palm Beach Post the other day.
All right, so in order of preference,
I'm sorry?
in order of preference, if we do end up with the time, which one are we addressing first? The fence, the coping, or the deck? Any preference?
When you say coping,
I would suggest that we do the most involved first, because we don't know how much time we'll have.
Well, personally, if you can get the awnings done first, that may be the way to go. But if you have a break, if your guys have a break and are looking for a few days worth of work to get done, then just have them do the deck and we'll worry about it afterwards.
well, the awning itself is not. Go ahead, Shirley.
You have to keep in mind that it's getting hotter outside. So it's a matter of our men working, the sooner the better they get on this, because we're starting to get into the 80s. And so weather is a factor.
Right, and it might be several weeks or months before they get a delivery of the awning material if they order it now. So
The awnings themselves would be a contractor job anyway, wouldn't it? I mean, our guys aren't going to do that piece.
No, that's
It's an
the
awning
company
company,
that we
right?
yes. The third issue, Marvin, we spoke about, and I spoke to Danny about it the other day, and I had one idea. He told me the drawbacks to my idea, and quite frankly, I think he's right. I was looking to paint the coping around the pools. This is the perfect opportunity to lower the water and be able to paint them. He said, once you paint them, it's going to be a maintenance nightmare. You're better off just bleaching and steam cleaning those, and I think he's probably right.
Hello?
Did I
I'm
lose
here.
everybody?
No, you don't.
Board, any suggestion?
Well, wait, you're saying Danny is suggesting that we clean rather than
He's
paint.
suggesting that we steam clean and bleach the coping rather than paint it. Because he says if you paint it, it's going to be a maintenance nightmare. You're going to have to redo it every couple of years. Where he thinks, and he's done it, he says, if you bleach it, steam clean it and bleach it, it'll look very nice and you won't have the maintenance headache. I'll defer to his experience. What he's saying certainly makes sense to me.
That seems to be the way to go then.
I'm sorry,
relatively expensive.
hear you. Hello?
Did we lose everybody?
No, I'm here. Is
I'm
everyone
here.
else here?
Is everybody just getting, oh, you have the preference list on right now.
I'm here.
Right.
Danny's here.
No, I agree with what Hal is saying.
I can hear
It
everything.
makes a lot of sense.
The pool coping painting should be first.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
Me too.
It's a heat issue.
Okay.
I say pool coping, maintenance, painting. I don't know about the rest.
No, if we're going to do the painting first and everything, that's fine. Do we want to look into another company as well to get a competitive bid, or are we okay with this company? And if we decide we want to go with that way with the awnings, we have to determine a color. If we decide that we don't want to do the awnings, we still have to replace the existing awnings because they're ripped and some of them are gone altogether.
I think we need to have another quote.
Excuse me, does everybody just have a listing here, or are we back to the screen? Marvin, you have this on the screen?
No,
I've got nothing but people.
I don't see people. Does anybody see people?
yes.
Yeah, I see
I
everybody.
don't see anybody.
Hal, what would be the difference if we
Oh,
just
now,
replace
okay.
what's there?
I haven't gotten a quote on that. I assume it'll be a little less expensive, maybe not all that much less expensive. And then you're going to keep that same look. You know, I was looking to, if it doesn't cost much money, to revamp and make it look.
Well, it sounds like a good idea.
And I don't think it's gonna cost, if you're looking at $2,500 to do the state of the art thing, I don't think it's gonna cost that much less to redo those awnings, which we know have to be
No.
replaced anyway.
So it pays to go new.
Right, and it's not like you're talking 10,000 and 1,000. You know,
Still have to
that
deal
would be a
with
consideration.
the fan issue has to be addressed as well, though.
Yes, and
How much it's gonna cost, if it's possible to do it on these other awnings.
I agree. I think there is a way, but I would leave it to the contractor. They would know better than me. I assume there's a way to just run, run a line underneath those with a support panel and put them there. But I'll leave that to the contractor. That's something that.
I think going for a fresh new look is a great idea.
That's true. We're changing to a new style. We're redoing everything. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's
Change it.
It's a shame we can't start the clubhouse now while everything is closed.
Anyway,
now is the best time to do it.
I say change to a new style.
Absolutely.
I'd agree that we want to go to a new style. I think doing the work in-house on the pools is probably a good idea. And Hal, we just need to, I think we need to get 2 bids and get a lot more information before we can make a decision.
Yes.
Marvin, we can't hear you, Marvin.
Oh, thank you. I will get a proposal on the awning because I see the overwhelming majority here want to see a new style. I will get a proposal on that to see if it's something that is doable. Obviously, this is something likely the either long-range planning or the steering group will have to evaluate as well to make sure that it matches the potential look style they're going for with the clubhouse, if that matters. So I will get proposals on that. And again, awning is not an essential business. So I was trying to get a second proposal to replace the awning as is, but they're closed. I only got one proposal, so that may take even longer. So for the people at the West Pool, the question is, do you want to replace that now or you want to wait?
How would that awning work for the rain, by the way? I'm looking at it. If it was raining, would it offer the same protection as what we have now?
I assume the ones I've seen.
For your purposes.
Yeah, the ones I've seen, the way they're erected, and again, you have to cover the context, the way they're erected, the way they're cantilevered and tilted, the rain can be funneled where you want it to be funneled.
Breaking up.
Huh?
Repeat, you're breaking up.
Didn't hear him,
I said, from what I've seen, the way it's erected and the way it's cantilevered and tilted, you could funnel the water in the areas that you want, so it's down underneath. But that's certainly a question that needs to be raised with the contract.
Okay, so Marvin, we're going to see if we can possibly get another proposal, also include the North Pool.
But for now, I'd like to put on for the board meeting the idea of going forward with the painting. That's something that's going to be done in-house. Best time to do it is now. It's relatively inexpensive. We can get that out of the way.
We don't have to wait for anything on that. We can just do it.
Right.
So everyone seemed to prefer the pool deck painting to be completed first, so we'll have that as our next.
Wait. I don't think we said pool deck painting. We said the pool coping painting.
No, we're not painting the pool coping. We're
the pool coping cleaning. The coping cleaning.
Right, clean. Excuse me.
Steam cleaning and bleaching the coping as per Danny's suggestion, and painting the pool decks.
Right.
Okay, we have whatever our people are going to be doing should be prioritized because of the hot weather coming.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be able to manage the work, the labor.
Well, they're
So it's
currently
good,
doing
better.
the car stops now. I don't know when they're supposed to finish with those, right, Marvin?
We should be wrapped up with car stops. I believe we have 6 buildings left, so maybe in another week and a half.
Yeah, the sooner the better.
It takes one day to do one building, and we have the whole crew assigned to that because they clean the carports, they do the car stops. There's a lot involved, and it takes a whole day per building. And one building actually took us 2 days by now.
So would we rather stop them from doing that and get onto the pool thing first? Is that what I hear suggested?
Valid question.
Well, you've got to, you know what? You have an agenda for the men. Let them finish what they have to do. It's only a 2 we're only waiting another 2 weeks.
Well, they're outside either way, so it really doesn't make a difference.
Right.
There's no benefit.
Exactly.
Marvin,
All right,
that should
we'll
be,
continue
that
with
should be
the
your call,
reports.
Marvin. Marvin, that should be your call.
Well, my preference would be to continue with the carports, finish that project, and then switch to something else.
Right, let them finish the job.
Sounds right to me, Marvin.
Mhm.
All right, so next item is there's a leak at the East Pool that they've been working on trying to identify. Luckily that the pools are empty now, so they can work on it. So it's a work in progress that likely will involve repairs that are needed. We're waiting on a proposal for those repairs.
Right.
And,
The only coordinating we would have to do is if you're painting the decks, oftentimes when you have a leak and going into a pool, you gotta cut the cement and repatch.
correct, and we're hoping to have that finished this week, hopefully. So if they have to cut open the deck, then when we're painting, then we can just cover that up.
That works.
All right, and next item, F, attachment F for everyone. That's the road update.
Marvin, did
The
we
ingenuity report, right?
ever get the tickets on how much
The tickets are there. They're all listed.
I looked,
Correct.
but I can't make out.
Can't read them.
Well,
You can't read them, but they're there.
yes, so here's the thing. For all those of you who received the digital version by email, instead of the tickets, there's a link. And when you go on that link, it has all 300 some whatever number of tickets, and you can open them in high resolution. It would be
I have
impossible
it in front of me now. You're saying, okay, the link, okay.
So if you open the PDF that I sent to everyone yesterday, there's a link in there, and that will take you to those tickets. And you can see all of them in high resolution. You can review them. There's a lot of them, and that is why I printed them in small, just so you could at least visualize it. But they're all there.
So the total of all the asphalt we got from the asphalt plants equal what we're supposed to be paying for, or did anybody look at that yet?
I only received those Friday, and I did not tally up everything if it does equal to the exact amount of asphalt that you paid for. But all the tickets are there. So it would be to kind of go through all of them, even though they're in high resolution, they're not really legible. And I will say, at least according to Paving Lady, they say that everything you did pay for, you got. Now, what that brings me to is we're kind of going to jump over to third-party engineer right now, is it would be to engage someone that can confirm that the job was completed, one, to spec, was completed the right way, and there are no deficiencies.
Yeah.
Marvin, when we had asked for the tickets for the trucks on how much asphalt was dispersed, why did it take months to get that information?
So the request for the tickets went out about a month plus ago. They had a deadline of the 27th to return it, but from probably second week of March to the 27th, and again, I will say, even us here, the whole world was learning a new lesson that we never experienced before. Paving Lady and Ingenuity did say that because they're working from home, they don't have access to these documents, which are in their offices and everything, regardless if true or not, regardless if you believe it or not. There was that situation that could potentially have delayed different things. As you see in his email came from about last week. That's the first sheet you have there. And it says, we are sending those over to you. You should get them. And I got them on Friday, all the field reports. So they were finally able to somewhat normalize back to business and give all those. Why the delay? The only excuse I got so far is because of the pandemic.
I would like to.
For those who can see, all the tickets, for if you can't really see it, they're all there. They say on what day they went, what tonnage they have, how many truckloads. So it's all there. It was all returned. Most of the asphalt they got from community, and each truck they hired from Allied Trucking also state their start time, where they delivered the asphalt and everything. So pretty much everything is there. Again, I didn't make a count because as you see, if you look at this ticket, for example, it tells you the tonnage, and each one of them would have to be calculated.
And who can do that, Marvin?
Yeah, you can.
He who speaks first, Hal. Listen, I've got a couple of points here. First of all, with the agreement of the board, I'd like to allow the two experts that we worked with, who are residents here, to take a look at this report and get their thoughts on it. But at the same time, as I'm looking through each of the ingenuity observation reports, it strikes me that the only times they saw anything that was deficient was when somebody else brought it to their attention. Either they went on a ride around the property with Marvin, or an owner came to them and said, what about this? In the vast majority of these reports, it says all work appeared satisfactory and in accordance with the plans and specifications. They don't seem to have picked up on anything on their own. And that concerns me.
That's why, Wayne, I agree with, if the board chooses to have the two gentlemen who are nice enough to volunteer their time, one of the things I would suggest is that they have this report and they go around to each of the places that the engineer signed off on and said, everything's done in accordance with specs, and specifically look at those areas, because I'm sure they'll find in at least half the areas that there was an issue.
Precisely. That was the next step in my thought.
Wayne, Wayne and Al, I thought we were going to go to another outside engineer for that task, for the core samples and an evaluation of the workmanship that we're discussing.
Jay, I think
excuse me, that's why we brought in DKK, and we didn't think, somebody said they didn't think that they would fit with what we needed, and we needed to go with somebody else.
That's correct.
I think everyone's confusing two different things here, folks. You're confusing the core samples with an expert that will look at the overall job and how it was done. Those are two different contractors that we were talking about.
Well, I'm lumping them together, and I agree with you, but it's part of the evaluation by an outside third party, and DKK, I thought we had agreed is probably not the best outside engineer to use. And Marvin, you came up with a suggestion of 2 or 3 others, and what I recall is that right now, because of the virus problem, they were not available. But we can't lose sight of the fact that
Marvin has one more attached here from another consultant.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, so to quickly answer that, when 2 weeks ago we were discussing that, I couldn't get any of these engineers on site because no one knew what was going on with this virus situation. Now that we have some safety measures, we understand it better, we can kind of operate around it. Hopefully, I don't know if that makes sense. I was able to get Caulfield and Wheeler, Federal Engineering and Testing on site. I did a walkthrough with them. I received a proposal from Federal Engineering, which I attached for everyone. Caulfield and Wheeler, they promised me I would have it before 2 o'clock today, but that obviously did not happen. And the McLeod, McCarty and Associates, they should give me that by Thursday. Because of the concerns with DKK, now that they came with a strong recommendations from what's his name?
Max.
Todd.
However, there were concerns on if they specialize in paving. These three other engineering firms, they specialize in paving. That is what they do. And they understand the work. And I'm not saying DKK does not, but they understand the work and they can proceed with that. So I believe I was able to, yeah, you have two proposals, DKK and only federal, but Caulfield and Wheeler and McLeod, they can come out, present a proposal as well on how to proceed. Regardless.
My recollection is that both Flock and Carey, Mrs. Flock and Carey, both strongly recommended that we have both the analysis of the core samples and the evaluation of the outside engineer before we go back to paving lady. And it was an integral step in our response to paving lady.
Right.
Is that everybody's recollection?
That's right, Jay.
Yes, Jay,
Yes, yes,
absolutely.
yes.
We all
So
agree.
we can't lose sight of the fact that we need the reports of the outside engineer and have that documentation in hand before we can speak intelligently to paving lady. So it seems to me that the first decision the board has to make is the selection of an outside engineer to perform the required work.
When you say the required work, Jay, we're talking two things. We're talking the core samples as a first step, and then someone to evaluate the results of the core samples vis-a-vis all the other issues.
That's correct. That's correct. It's a two-step process.
Including 131,
Mhm.
because they have not given us a solution. This nonsense they're giving us is just that they say they're not responsible at all. We have to pay. That's not a solution where they're getting their money for the 30 grand. And also the picture they gave us, that's an insult.
Wait a
That's the
second,
sprinkler being on.
You're talking 131. We're not on that yet.
No, that's part of what
That's
the, excuse me, that's part of what the engineer has to look at as well, an outside engineer. That's not separate.
Well, that certainly is part of the punch list, Alan.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it up.
I think what Alan's saying is that we don't finalize any negotiation with them until that's included as part of the items to address.
Correct.
No,
I took a quick look at the federal engineering and testing proposal, and it's vastly different from the DKK in terms of how much money they're asking for. They're asking for $38.90. The others were up at $17,000. I'm not sure they're giving us exactly the same thing that DKK was.
Yeah, I
Go
think
around the entire community and look at everything, or it's just going to be core samples here.
Well, why don't we ask our in-house residents to evaluate those proposals also? Because using the same thought process, they're far more qualified to evaluate those proposals than we are.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Can I say something?
No.
Go ahead.
I don't disagree with anything anybody said, but correct me if I'm wrong. If paving lady has not yet finished the job, why would we hire someone to analyze the work they've done if they're not finished yet? It seems to me common sense. You don't have to be an engineer to realize you cannot analyze the job until it's finished. If they haven't finished yet, what are we analyzing? The interim
We're
work?
talking, I'll
Well,
answer
here's-
that question. We're talking about the work that is completed and what is an obvious poor workmanship. We're not talking about work that has to be repaired.
No. It seems to me you bring an engineer in when they finish the job. Because if
No,
I'm-
somebody to look at the punch list in advance.
if I'm doing a job for you, forget what it is, forget paving or anything, and you're bringing in somebody to analyze my work and I haven't finished yet, I'm like, how could you bring somebody in? You have to wait until I finish to see if I do it right.
Well, they
I mean,
finished.
isn't that common sense?
They actually finished already.
Robert, it would make sense to me if the person that we hired initially to do that, which was our engineer, who was supposed to be on the site on a daily basis, overlooking what they were doing, he didn't sleep on the job, and he pointed out all these things. we wouldn't be in a position right now to have to say, hey, what is that? But we don't have that person, so it behooves us to do that even before we get to the point where we're negotiating the punch list.
Right, we need an expert
Al is
advocate.
absolutely right.
Look, I don't disagree with any of that, but I'm telling you, how do you analyze something that's not finished yet? Maybe
Well,
when
it
they're
is finished.
finished, you'd have
Robert,
an analysis.
Robert, when I went on a walk around with Marvin and representatives of Paving Lady and Ingenuity, there were many areas that were pointed out that Paving Lady flat out said, we don't understand what you're complaining about. This is perfectly fine. And we walked over and the gravel was raveling, and it was in certain cases uneven, and in certain cases it was pretty obvious that the workmanship was shoddy. And they looked at us like we had two heads and said, why are you complaining about this? This is perfectly within reason. And the representative from Ingenuity remained silent. So I don't see them coming back and changing their position in most of these situations to say, oh yeah, now we decided we're going to come back and tear up Sunny Point because we did a crappy job on it.
They're finished as far as they're concerned. They
Yeah.
are completed, Robert.
If they
This is
haven't
the punch
finished
list that they're looking at.
If they haven't finished the punch list, Alan, they're not finished. You hire an engineer, the engineer comes in and they agree with what he just said, that the workmanship is shoddy, but then they come in later and finish the job and do it right. What are you going to hire the engineer a second time to analyze it a second time?
Yeah, we need
It
somebody
makes
to
sense
oversee what's
to
going
me.
on now.
You let them finish first or tell us they're finished, then you bring in someone to analyze their work.
No, that's why we have an engineer now, and the
Right,
engineer
we
is
don't
not
know.
doing the job
Right,
for
well,
us.
Listen, we can beat this
anticipate-
to death from now until the end of time. Shirley, let's vote on it and let's get it done.
That's right.
Here, I have a question. Marvin, at any point, did you and Paving Lady go through the checklist and see the punch list and see if you were in agreement with everything? Did you compare the punch lists?
At present, so let me explain this by going back to before pandemic. So before pandemic, or let's say probably right before March, Paving Lady and Ingenuity was of the view that they didn't get a chance to finish the job. And I'm hoping that you understand they felt kind of concerned that there were some other people involved in the project that was looking at an unfinished product. That was Paving Lady and Ingenuity's view. Ingenuity sent an email that I shared to all that says that they don't start their full investigation of the project yet because the project is not completed, and they want Paving Lady to go ahead and fix many things first, which as a paving contractor, they should be aware of before the engineer comes out and then highlights multiple things that need to be repaired. So that was, let's say, before pandemic. During pandemic, I would say right around March, things kind of changed with the hold on the payment, which was later released, and the Paving Lady did agree with that. And then because of the pandemic, all walkthroughs became out of standby. So we didn't get a chance to do the walkthroughs. That's pretty much where things are right now. So the list that exists currently, Paving Lady is aware of it, but they did not, and the many board members that are here, even though the list is not fully completed, but you can see the list online. Paving Lady did not comment on any of these items at present because to them, the job is not final yet.
Yeah, I have a simple question, really. Let me just ask this question. The list that we have, the punch list, is that stuff that our engineering company picked out, or is that all from us and residents? Because if it's not from the engineering company and it's from us, then it just doesn't cut it. And that's the problem.
Well,
and I know the answer to that.
Ingenuity's standing is that they will not do their punch list until Paving Lady let them know that they've completed. That's Ingenuity's standpoint.
What's happening is we're letting Paving Lady control this whole process. And we got to get moving. The fact of the matter is that there is a substantial amount of work that is completed. And it's obvious, at least to our in-house experts, that there are problems. I mean, they talk about tearing up a sizable amount of the project and redoing it. I see absolutely no reason at all to delay an outside engineer from doing the analysis that we will, under any circumstances, need in order to have a intelligent conversation with Paving Lady. And my suggestion again is to send those that report that you received to our in-house people and see what they say, see what their recommendations are, and let's get on with selecting an outside engineer. There is no reason at all to delay that part of the process.
Exactly.
Marvin, if you take what they're saying to its logical conclusion, think about it for a second. If they did my street as the first street 5 months ago, you're telling me Ingenuity can't make a determination as to what type of job was done on the first street that was done in this project several months ago until the final bit of asphalt on the last street is done? That makes no sense.
I'm not saying it makes sense, and I'm not telling you that. I'm just saying this is what Ingenuity states.
And I'll tell you what their position, what's underlying their position, Marvin. They want Paving Lady to get paid in full for everything. And then it's okay. Now we have our money. Now go chase us.
Good luck with that.
I didn't say anything. I did not.
One at a
I did
time.
not say pay in full. I did not say that. If you're going to hire an engineer, my suggestion would be, oh, we want you to know Paving Lady hasn't finished the job yet. Do you still want to come in and do an engineering analysis? See what they say. But I didn't say pay them in full. You don't pay until the job's finished and it's done satisfactorily. But if someone hasn't been given an opportunity to finish the job, what are you going to say? Well, the engineering company says, you haven't done this, this, and here. And then the Paving Lady says, well, we were going to do it, but now we weren't given an opportunity to fix it. Doesn't make sense to me.
We need an expert to tell us what has to be
Wait,
done.
one at a time, please.
We need an expert
May I
to
say
tell us what to
something?
do.
Lenny, if you look at the report, the field observations of Ingenuity, field observation number 16 and 17 has to do with a drainage problem. And there's 5 or 6 locations listed that Ingenuity said back in January, these need to be fixed. One of those locations was 131, in front of building 131, but there were several on Kingsgate Circle, and none of that work has been done yet. So here we have field observations by Ingenuity made 3-4 months ago, and nothing's been done yet. And I think Hal is 100% right. And Jay, they're not doing that to correct anything.
The
Did you see
process,
field observation 16 and 17?
the inspection process has stopped, and Paving Lady is the reason that the process has stopped. There is no reason why we can't have an outside engineer work independently, and Paving Lady can continue to do the work that they're doing. But there's no reason at all that we should delay the hiring of an outside engineer to do their work, because clearly.
You know what? We're going into month number 7 of something that was supposed to take 3 months.
Right.
It's supposed to be done by December 31st.
We can have other people here simultaneously in order to expedite this whole thing. So
Right.
I agree with Jay.
Yeah.
Yep. Marvin, can you push the 2 other consultants to have proposals to you by the end of the week? Send it to us, and then we can put it on the agenda for Monday.
I was supposed to have one from Caulfield and Wheeler today, but that didn't come on time. And the other one from McLeod I should have by Thursday or Friday.
Marvin, what are they
Once I
bidding on?
I'm sorry?
What are they bidding on? Is it just the core samples? Or is it to do a total inspection of the project? Because the difference between 17,000 and 3,800 tells me that the two of them are bidding on two totally different things.
We need a total inspection.
The one for 3,800 only
Of
has
course, yeah.
4 hours of visual inspection of pavement to look at the entire community. I'm not sure 4 hours is sufficient.
That's not adequate. It's not adequate.
Insufficient.
They're doing 22 cores throughout the community, core samples.
That's similar to what the other
We're
one
back
was.
into the situation where the board members are evaluating these proposals. We should have professionals evaluate these proposals. We have two professionals in residence. We need the professionals to evaluate the proposals.
And make some recommendations to
I
us.
have no objection to letting those two guys take a look at them. Let's do that.
Okay, so let's do it.
This is just something I looked at because it was submitted to us and it doesn't look like it's enough for federal engineering.
Yeah, but we need their opinion. We need.
Let's get it.
I'll get it.
We're all agreeing with
Well,
you.
that's what I'm pushing for.
Can they look at the field reports made by the, by Ingenuity and comment on that? Because some of the field
Joanne.
reports indicate that there are problems.
Well, they have already
Just didn't know if
expressed
he
their
was sitting
opinion about
outside.
ingenuity.
No, it's just looking, there's nobody.
Okay.
So we in agreement that we can let them look at the stuff we have?
Yes,
I think
yes.
so.
I think so. I don't
The
see any
minute-
reason
the
why
minute
not
we
to.
receive-
What
minute
is
we
the
receive all
downside?
the
Right,
proposals,
there's no
None.
downside.
So let's do it.
I agree.
So the minute we receive all the
Wait a
proposals,
sec-
I will send over to the board and then we will also share with these two gentlemen so they can review. Understand that the proposals may show different pricing, and the main reason is if you compare federal engineering to DKK, federal engineering believes, and again, they did make it clear that they think 22 core tests will show the extent of the project, but they did say if the board wants 1,000 core tests, they'll do 1,000 core tests.
Well, it's not the core test.
DKK, well, let me finish with this. DKK, when they were there, I told them to include initially when I met with Carrie and Flock, they were suggesting a core test every 100 feet. DKK said that's definitely too excessive, but he will come up with a plan, and that's why he quoted a number of 8,000 worth of core tests, which if I recall his number, he was talking close to 100 plus core tests. I don't recall exactly.
But that's not the only issue, Marvin.
I'm
But
sorry?
again, let's get the opinion of the experts before we evaluate the proposals.
Agreed.
I actually did a walk around with them.
Okay,
And
so
they-
10 minutes later, excuse me, everybody. 10 minutes later, we're still talking in circles. People are saying they want the experts from our resident experts to get involved in this. Everybody seems to be in agreement with that. Most people are. That's the first thing methodically to do is get them the reports. The
Right.
next thing to do this in an orderly fashion, Marvin, you have to get the other two proposals and bring them to the attention of the board and see what's involved there. And the third thing is, we can't vote on Monday on anything if we don't have the consensus of whoever we're bringing in, the opinions. Today's Tuesday. We might have some information by, you said Thursday or Friday?
Yes, Thursday or Friday. What my suggestion would be, if the board feels that they do want to, which I think is the right way to proceed with a third-party engineer, based on the DKK proposal that comes to, what was the amount for DKK here?
17,000.
17,000. Maybe on Monday, the board, at least to expedite things when we get those proposals, if they're still being reviewed, vote for not to exceed 10,000 or 15,000. And then once an engineer is identified, the board can engage that engineer, and at the next meeting, we can ratify who it was for that started that project.
And
That makes
also
sense.
board members, because circumstances are such that, we're all working from home and online and whatever, we can always have a special meeting. We don't have to, we've never waited from agenda to board to agenda to board. We've had continual meetings all along. So even if we do not have the information by Monday, nothing's going to stop us from saying, okay, we have the information. Let's have a special paving meeting on Wednesday, Thursday.
Exactly.
Okay.
That works too.
I think we should follow Jay's advice. So can we at least go forward that way?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so then we will make a motion not to exceed, what, 10, 15?
What was the cost of the current proposals that we have?
DKK is 17,000 and federal is I think 7,000 or 3,000.
So then how does
3,800. But again, it's apples and oranges because they're not bidding on the two, on the same thing.
You know what?
The main
Alice,
difference
right.
between the two is the amount of quartet.
Let our advisors evaluate the proposals so we know what we're talking about.
Yes.
I don't think, yeah, we don't need to put to exceed anything right now. Let's, exactly, let's get the proposals and see how much they say.
Right.
Yeah, if I may, I did a walk around with Danny, one of the experts, and he was finding things all over the place that didn't just involve core samples. It involved the raveling and involved the lines where it met. So he clearly thinks it's more than just core samples. That's why I'm saying the whole thing has to be evaluated.
Of course, Alan, we're not suggesting that we limit it to.
No, I know you're not. I know you're not, Jay.
As Hal has indicated, it's a two-step process. Core samples are only part of the analysis.
Right.
Okay, everybody, we're in agreement. We're going to get the, as I said just a few minutes ago, that this is the way we're going. The two resident experts are going to get copies of the reports. We're waiting for the other two proposals. If we get them, then Marvin will send them out to us. If we won't be prepared probably by Monday to vote on this. We will have a special meeting as soon as we are.
Shirley, can I suggest too, give them the tickets or the asphalt tickets, let them add up the tonnage.
Hal, you know what? It's difficult to hear you.
Yeah, it's muffled.
Okay, yes.
He wants to give the tickets to them as well.
Right, let them add up the tonnage. That's one of the issues.
That way you don't have to.
I got a question. Is the paving lady currently working to correct some of the conditions that was enumerated earlier?
Right now, they just finalized last week the signage and the striping. And this week, probably tomorrow, Thursday, they're supposed to start fixing the walkway.
Okay,
so
they'll
all
continue
the cracks on the
Okay,
walkway,
good.
that's going to be their next plan. So they are still actively working. In the interim, the engineer is doing the survey for the areas where there is ponding. What someone mentioned about field observation number 17. So they're working on that to fix those areas. And once they have that repaired, once they have a plan for that, we will be presented on ways to address those driveways. There's about 8 of them throughout the property that have this issue now post paving.
But one of them was addressed in number G, which is up next. Okay, so the report by Ingenuity did include the observation of a drainage problem in front of 131, but we're going to discuss it next. Okay, so let's go forward with that.
Yes, so that's an update on what they've been doing lately. So now the next thing is I will get those proposals. Once I have them, I will send over to the board. I will send over to Flock and Carrie for them to evaluate, and we can move forward on that. The next item is item G. For everyone, if you switch to G, G concerns building 131.
Okay. Now, back in January 6th, Ingenuity made an observation. Their observation was that building 131, the main entrance, needed to be corrected, and John was supposed to correct it, and he did come up with these proposals. Is that it?
Yes. So in January 6th, if you recall, the first time that building 131 was found to be an issue by everyone was around the holidays. And we contacted Ingenuity, and they said that as soon as the holidays are over, they will be back. So on January 6th, they did come on site. They did a lot of surveying. They tried to understand the situation. And finally, we have a potential solution on how to address it. So we have an email that highlights 3 different options. And if everyone goes to G, that's the email from John that highlights 3 different options on how to address that. There's option 1, which is at no cost. This is to rework the asphalt. The concern is that aesthetically, it may not look right.
Why not?
I'm sorry?
Why not?
Alan, let Marvin finish, please.
Finish, okay?
As far as the why not, I can't tell you, but being that it will be probably heating and tamping, I think that's how they call the process. It just may not look aesthetically right, but there will be no cost to try that option. Option number 2 is they suggest installing a drainage inlet. And option number 3 is they suggest addressing it by fixing the cement sidewalk, or let's say the entrance of the building coming out to meet the asphalt. What they end up finding out when they came with the lasers and whatnot to do some measurement is that building's entrance is lower than the roadway. So water will always go towards the lowest spot and stay there for the longest. Now with the brand new paving, it makes it even more, because what you end up having is that they added 1.25 inches versus what was there before, which was 1 inch. And also that the new paving, when it's just put in, just like paint, it doesn't allow water to drain it's like a sealed surface. It doesn't allow water to drain as much. So these are the 3 options they're proposing. Option 1 is no cost. Option 3 is $8,000. Option 4 is $9,200.
So the question is, my question is, which does Ingenuity suggest, if they're gonna suggest anything? Because other than Jimmy, we're not engineers here, and we're just guessing. And Jimmy,
Ingenuity agrees with all 3 options as a way to fix the problem that exists. Of course, Keith Jackson
Ingenuity has lost all their credibility.
Right.
I understand, but I'm just answering Lenny's question. Keith Jackson did say that removing the aesthetic concern, option 1 should address the problem without an issue.
I don't see one.
Yeah, I want to say something in reference to them saying that it's lower on the lobby room, and that's why it's going into there. It's going out about 4 or 5 feet from that point onto the asphalt. So that's a BS thing that they're saying. It's not just what's going into the lobby, but before the lobby, there's a great deal of water, and you were there. It's going out like 4 feet from that point.
Okay, wasn't there always an issue with drainage?
Never, never.
That's not what we heard from independent sources.
I don't know who you heard.
Bob, we live here.
I
You
live
know.
there.
We don't live there. We don't live there, but we heard from several.
Well, then you heard
People
something.
that live there.
They were talking about, just so you understand the confusion, in the back where the mailboxes were, the landscapers put some extra earth in the back. It raised it, and some stuff was pouring from the other side of the elevator room that has
front of the
since been
elevator.
remedied. That was not coming from the asphalt side.
Not
That
coming
was
from the
confusion,
street.
and they're just grabbing on it. Then they showed us a picture of prior flooding, and this is that picture of prior flooding. It's ridiculous.
The photograph that's attached, that they say buttresses their case, doesn't show any flooding there. They say that it shows before they did any work that there was flooding. I don't see any flooding there.
Yeah, Marvin, I have a question for you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Question. Alternative option number 1 is no charge, right?
Correct.
Right.
So is this a mutually exclusive choice? Why don't we try option 1 at no charge and see if it works?
Because aesthetically, it's going to ruin the asphalt.
But what I'm saying is there's no charge. Why don't we just try it first, see if it works? And then if you're not happy, then you have the other options.
But you've ruined the asphalt.
But you have the other options.
Whoa, you guys,
The asphalt will look reworked in this area.
listen.
Well, they
suggestion
should do a
has been
wider
made-
area.
Robert, listen, a suggestion has been made, just run a small finger trench from the water area to the catch basin, which shouldn't take a great deal of, Jimmy, how wide would that trench be? Jimmy Yamas,
Yeah, go ahead.
talking about a finger trench running from the water to drain the water to the catch basin?
Yeah, that would be my solution, but if it's not agreeable to everyone, and I don't like to pay for it to begin with.
No, I don't think we should pay for it.
Well, that's the other issue, yeah.
Yeah, well, without talking about money, the correct answer should be a trench drain, as small as possible. Even the finger drain would work, immediately in front of the building, and it'll take the water to the nearby catch basin, which is only about 25 or 30 feet away, and it'll work.
Jim, is that going
The
to
asphalt
present
is not
a
affected
tripping
at all.
hazard?
What?
Will that present a tripping hazard to people walking?
That's
in
my
the
fear.
field and stepping in it? That's what I'm fearing.
And they
Hal
don't,
wants to know if it's going to be a tripping hazard.
what is?
Some woman that's walking with heels at night will step right into the French drain, to the grate.
It doesn't mention anything about a tripping hazard, but I am sure they will be mindful not to create one.
Which option is that?
So basically,
Option
we're
one.
thinking about going with option 2.
You know, the complaint about option 1 is that it's not going to look good, right? But
Right.
it's not going to look good because they want to do minimal asphalt. If they have to do option 1, they have to bring it out further so it doesn't look bad.
Mm-hmm. Don't make it look like a patch.
Right, make it bigger.
Right.
Well, you know,
You have a bigger patch then.
the
A
expert
bigger
here is
patch
Jimmy,
will be better probably than a small one. And we're going to paint it in the future,
Right.
maybe.
But I agree with Robert. If it's something where we're fighting with who's going to pay for it, we want to try option 1 first. Let's see if that gets rid of the big problem, which is the lake that appears there every time it rains. That's what we're
Right,
trying to do. If
But
people
do
have to
option
live
1
with
in
it-
a way where it's going to look okay.
I say if people have to live with it unaesthetic
No
versus
problem.
drowning when they go out, I think they'll pick the unaesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, do it that way and try to make it aesthetically pleasing instead of just throwing up their hands and saying, well, this is what we're going to do for free.
We've already.
Here's my question for you, Marvin. It's rhetorical in nature. You mentioned before that they took a laser and that's how they saw that the walkway was raised. Did they just buy that laser or did they have it all along? If they had it all along, why didn't they put the laser when they did milling to see what would happen with the water flow?
Right.
That's where the engineer.
Hal,
again, fell down on
it
the
didn't exist. It didn't exist prior to them coming through and paving, which is the end of November. The only water we had was in front of the elevator because we had a slope inside. But the situation here didn't exist. And the people who live in the building want it fixed, whether it looks pretty, it doesn't look pretty, don't matter.
No, so then Robert says the right thing. Robert's saying the right thing.
I agree. Okay, Robert, I agree. Let's do it. You know what?
So anyway, we need to put the ball back in paving ladies' court, that it's their issue, not ours, okay?
Okay.
All right, so then therefore I will be informing them that the board chose option 1.
Right.
No,
That it's their fault and we don't
I'm
want to pay.
hoping the board has decided
it doesn't
it's
work,
their
of course.
problem and not our problem.
Yeah,
And
I
that-
think that has to be made clear to them, Marvin.
Is paving lady telling us that reworking the asphalt will resolve the problem?
Yes, they did that.
Did they say that?
They're gonna put a catch basin there, Jake.
Jay, you broke up. I didn't get your
No.
question.
We're talking about reworking the asphalt.
Jay, the
Right.
answer to your question is no, because if you read the email from them, it says none of these solutions are guaranteed to completely eliminate the standing water at the entrance to building 131 in its entirety.
All
Are
right.
they experts or
So
not?
what you're saying is that you're giving them the opportunity to screw up the asphalt, but they're not guaranteeing that that's going to resolve the problem.
Yeah, we need a third-party engineer to look at it.
I think we're
No,
getting
okay.
two
Alan,
things.
I want it done. I don't
We're
care.
getting two concepts confused. One, no matter which one of the three options we go with, they're not guaranteeing it. But if I read option one, they're saying, this will fix the problem, but it won't look quite as good. And what Mickey just said to me is the heart of the matter. Are you more concerned with a flood, or it doesn't look quite as good? They're saying number one works. They're just not guaranteeing
No,
it.
they didn't.
But they're not guaranteeing 2 or 3 either.
Correct.
So they're saying one will do the job. They're only concerned about look.
Robert,
Let's remember, we're
let
still.
me tell you let me read what it says here first. It says for option one, this will have the least effect on moving all the water out of the options. It's the worst of the options is what they're saying.
Why don't we have the two residents who are engineers evaluate the 3 proposals and give us an opinion? We're asking them for an opinion on the rest of the project. Why don't we ask them on this?
And then get a
think Phyllis is
third party engineer.
Folks, I agree with what Phyllis said, and let's still remember, we're still holding $30,000 in escrow for this particular issue. If we go with number one and it doesn't work, I think we take the position right from the outset, this is not our problem, this is their problem. They're suggesting number one, that's what they seem to think is, they'll do it on their own, they're not charging us, that's fine. We're not releasing any of that money until this situation is resolved. And if it comes to the fact that they did number one and it didn't work, then we may do 2 and 3, but we're deducting that money from the money we're going to give back to them.
Still their problem.
Exactly, Hal is exactly correct.
Right.
Okay. Listen, you know what? I think that you're right, Hal. I think we should try something right now. And if it doesn't look too pretty, in a year from now, we're going to seal code everything anyway, right?
We're not worried about the aesthetics, but they need to know that we're not accepting that this is a pre-existing condition.
Sure.
And if it was a pre-existing condition, it was exacerbated tremendously by their work.
Right.
And that's the position we're taking, and they're responsible to remedy it. And we're holding that money until this is remedied. We're willing to go with what I believe is what they think the cheapest option for them, and that is number one. If it works, that's great. We'll worry about the aesthetics later. But if it doesn't work, we'll do 2 and 3, but we're not giving them the full amount of their money back. Period.
That's right. It's
Right.
their problem. It's their problem.
Correct.
Okay. So Marvin, can you put it together and give them a letter saying we agree with phase 1, with option 1? However, as
I
Hal
will, just like Hal said it, I will let them know that.
Okay.
And they will start the option 1 repair, and we see where it goes from there.
Marvin, if you need for me to review language when you send it, before you send it, be happy to do it. Just send it.
All right.
Yeah, you have to make it clear to them that we're not accepting it as our responsibility, that we
That's right.
believe it's their responsibility.
That's right. That's right, Mickey.
Okay, so I will inform them of that. So that is, and then I will give you an update on 1, what their response is, or 2, if they go ahead and complete the work, if there's any relief for the problem that existed.
Another issue. I'm not a paving expert, but why are they concerned about the aesthetics? Why do they have to do it by hand? Why can't they come in, rework the asphalt, and then bring a roller in and tamp it down just like they did the rest of the road?
That's what I was trying to say, Jay.
Right. Go right
That's
to the
just what I was
carport
trying to
area.
say.
Go
Yeah,
right
why do they have to do it
to
by
the
hand?
carport. Right.
Why should they tell us they're doing a half-assed job?
That's
They should
right.
do it the
That's
right way.
exactly correct.
Because it costs them more to bring in the big truck than the hand roller.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Would you like to have a Zoom meeting with the engineer and paving lady?
Yes,
No,
yes.
no.
I would like to
It's a
talk
waste
to
of
them, Robert.
time.
What do you mean, no?
It's a waste of time.
I think that's something you should, so they can understand the board's position. I mean,
Yes.
I'll send that by email first, but
Okay.
I gotta tell
your
you,
thoughts.
The whole board doesn't have to meet with them.
We can send them a paragraph saying
Right,
it's
I
their
gotta tell you,
responsibility.
at
They got to
this
do it the
point-
right way.
Right. At
Just
this
We're not
Wait,
paying.
please stop for a second, please. Everybody's talking at one time. We agreed, Hal, you're gonna help Marvin with the wording?
I'll be happy to help them. And at this point, quite frankly,
Just
with the
in,
way I see these things going, I would prefer not to have face-to-face meetings with them, but to put everything in writing.
Right. And also do what Jay said, that it has to be
You know what?
aesthetically pleasing.
Excuse me. How? My
Yeah.
question to you is, you're going to help Marvin with the wording, put in as much information as we can, and that's it, prior to any meetings. We've had many meetings with them already.
100%. Whatever Marvin needs, I'll be happy to help.
And I think at this point, we don't need to have a meeting.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So we're moving to the next item.
What's the next time?
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, next item is it's HPA Hotwire. It's just an update that as of yesterday, but also as of this morning, we didn't hear anything back from Hotwire. I know everyone is eagerly waiting, but we didn't hear anything back from them. So that's just an update on that situation. All right, and the last item, clubhouse and pool reopening discussion.
Right now, I recommend we keep our status.
We have to.
Agree.
The county says no pools. There's nothing to.
Right now, keep
Oh.
everything the way it is, and if there's any sort of update whatsoever, we will have a meeting. When I say a meeting, we can, if we get clearance for whatever, we don't have to wait the 48 hours. We can have an emergency meeting. We can have a meeting in 2 days, 4 days, whatever it takes. But right now, there's no change.
Agreed.
Second that.
Third.
Agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
Agree.
with that, any general concerns that need to be discussed?
Yeah.
Actually, there's one thing. There was a change of the landscaping committee did a change. I don't remember the amount, Robert, if you can say that. I will add that as a motion for Monday. There's something we have to ratify.
Yes, I can tell you the amount in a second.
Well, he's looking for that. I
No,
just,
I already have it. Pumps letter O and pump letter H both failed. They were repaired February 27th at a total cost of $3,586.34. It was already done. This is just a ratification vote.
What are we talking about?
Two pumps broke
Two what?
and they were
Sprinklers.
replaced, repaired.
What kind of pumps? Where were these pumps?
There are 15 pumps from the lakes that irrigate our.
Oh, from the lakes. Okay.
Yes,
Oh, these are the lake pumps. Okay.
yes,
Two of them failed?
yes. It was already done. The job is
If
finished.
the
It was
work
done
has been done, the work has been repaired.
February 27th, it was done.
I just want to say something about the awnings for the pools. Maybe we should contact Susan Welson, because I'm sure she might have a supplier or two who could, give us a different quote or a different idea that might go with what their thinking is for the main
That's fair.
house. And also, are there other communities where this company put in these canopies?
I got a question.
Go see.
If Susan Wells does it, does she get a percentage of the purchase?
Just asking for information, that's all.
If she gets a percentage and she gets us a better price, it doesn't matter.
They'd be
Well,
paying.
she gets a percentage of what she buys, right? Doesn't
Yeah, but
she?
who cares if the
Oh,
price
she
is less than they pay
gets
otherwise? Who cares what?
wholesale.
What's that?
Gets it wholesale. If without her, you would never get that price. So even if she adds $1,000, it's still cheaper than you could get it anywhere.
Lenny, we should just be concerned with what we're paying, not
That's
what
it.
she's making. If we're paying less than anywhere else, who cares what she's making?
Right.
All right, but that's my question. What involvement she would
I
have?
think that's a good idea to have an outside professional advise us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She may say they're not good.
Exactly. That.
Right.
Good
Hal,
idea. So let's check with
Hal,
her.
did you say, excuse me, Hal, did you say that there are other communities that have these?
Yes, and I meant to send everyone a picture. It was in the Palm Beach Post about 2 days ago or 3 days ago. Just ironically enough, there was an article that showed a picture. And I forget which one it is. I'll look through my recycling and see if I can get the picture and send it out.
Yeah, because we could always, one at a time ride by and just
Sure.
look at them.
And at least call them up and see what their experience has been.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
Marvin, one other issue, I'm not going to mention any names, but there is a resident here that sent something out to the board about the bench that was put in the handicapped sidewalk area, and then I know it was moved to the landscape area, but now the latest is a complaint that it's still obstructing. What's the situation?
I can explain the situation. So we have a bench that we installed on outside for people who walk from their cars coming to the clubhouse so they can sit. The bench is on the grass area. This resident's concern this morning was that the bench, if someone is sitting on the bench, the person's feet will be in the sidewalk, and that will impede someone with a walker from walking by. The resident mentioned to me that I will get charged $1,500 and that I am stupid and a dumbass for not moving it. So my take
That
on
you
it-
said?
And to you, that you said right away, I'll take care of it right this minute.
Yeah, so
He's quoting, he's quoting.
this resident, Michael Wasserman is his name. So this resident, Michael Wasserman is his name, said that my staff and I are stupid and we're dumbasses. And anytime someone addresses me this way, I am not going to entertain any further conversations with them. So what I told this resident is if he chooses, he can call the county because he said the county will charge me $1,500. I told him that will be to his detriment as a resident of the association. And I don't believe that it's an actual issue. So that's the background story of this situation.
Because in my brief, I didn't really research it, but briefly I looked at the statute that was cited. It has to do with cars being obstructing the handicap area, not a bench. And my question also is, and maybe if you speak to the people, you can find out, if the bench is in the middle of the sidewalk, I would agree that's an obstruction. But if the bench
It
is
is
off
on the grassy area, it is not on the sidewalk.
right, and if someone is sitting there and puts their feet, how is that any different than someone that's just standing and talking on the sidewalk?
I
That's
told
not
that
considered
resident the
obstruction.
exact same thing. And
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure you knew what was going on, obviously.
Thank you.
Marvin, you certainly don't have to take that crap from anybody.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And excuse me, the person is not a resident. I mean, the person lives here, but he's not an owner.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions from the audience or any other topic from the board members?
Hal,
Yes.
actually Hal and Wayne, when you look at the frame with that I'm speaking from, is it as dark as I see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now your frames, your two frames and some of the others are bright. What am I doing that I can't look as good as you guys?
Oh, God.
Jay, it's a personality thing, Jay. What can I tell you?
Yeah,
You have to light up your
Jay.
It's all lighting. You see, I just shut off my light, Jay, and I'm.
No, it's just, I tried everything. I can't get it to work. I want to
Jay,
look
you
as
have
good
to
as you
lighten your
guys.
screen.
Jay, I
take
think
your finger off
the
the
window
camera.
behind you is, there's too much light coming from that window. So you end up being darker and the window is way overblown.
Yeah, but
That's
Hal has the
correct.
same thing. Hal has a backlight also.
Hal has a
Lighten up the
fancy
room, Jay. What
HDR
can I tell
camera.
you?
Jay, excuse me, Jay, go into your settings, okay, and lighten up your screen.
Yeah.
Hey, I think you'll need a professional to be able to come in and solve your problem.
Charlie, would you help Joe with that, please?
Settings, Sandy,
There it is.
settings.
Oh, look at that. You've been already.
Oh,
Okay.
you did it.
Settings, you have to lighten it.
Jay Sussman.
Oh, my God, it is
There you
Jay.
go.
Yay.
Wow,
Take
that's
the
good.
other way. Turn around.
It's Ward. Ward,
Bernie
I'm just-
Sanders.
Hal, send Arlene to Jay's house and let her do it.
Well, that's all I had.
All right, guys, I'm cooking a turkey and I'm making an apple cake. Are we?
We'll be over.
Wow.
Please,
Yeah, we'll
come
be
on.
right over.
Smell it?
From here.
What time are we invited?
Yeah, what time is dinner?
4 o'clock.
Oh, geez.
Okay, board, just for a minute.
Hal, I
please.
thought you were gonna say that I have to grow a mustache.
That'll help. It reflects the light.
Okay. Everybody-
Non-agenda items, just to bring you up to date a little bit, Hal. We're working on the documents. It'll be a couple of weeks before they're ready to be presented to the board for the amendments. Am I correct, Hal?
Yes, I have done the articles of incorporation, and by tonight I will have finished the bylaws, and in the next week, hopefully, the declarations and covenants. And then I'll bring it back to the attorneys committee and let them do what they want with it, and then once.
And then, okay,
make
so Hal
modifications,
will notify us, and we'll have a board meeting strictly that pertains to the documents. That's one thing. The other thing is we're in the process. I think we're going to be setting up exercise classes from Body Wellness so the residents can tune in. We're just getting that put together now, and I'll advise the board. This is Abe Friedman doing. Marvin, I haven't heard any, maybe today or tomorrow. And the board will know, and then all the residents will know. They will have their exercise classes.
That's wonderful.
Very good.
Okay, and they're trying to get the same instructors that were here physically. So the same.
Shirley, if you could repeat that, I was typing, I didn't get that. What was it?
The exercise classes, Body Wellness, I think they're going to be charging us the same prices for the classes. It's a matter of scheduling it. And I'm waiting to hear from Abe Friedman to confirm everything.
Okay, and they're doing that remotely via Zoom or something?
Yeah,
like that?
yeah. I'm waiting to hear how they're doing that. Apparently Body Wellness is doing it elsewhere, and
Okay.
great success. So
And they're
that's
not giving you a better rate than the regular rates for?
no, they're gonna have the same amount of classes. So I as I said, I'm waiting to hear from Abe, and it should be within a day.
Perfect. All right, sounds good.
I see a note here from Robert Flock about do not entertain any corrective work by paving lady, including 131 work. I will send entire board a long email explaining the paving situation. I'm not sure.
I'm going to reject that, Mickey.
Pardon?
Something has to be done.
He's sending an email, he said.
I saw that. It doesn't make sense.
Do you want him? I can allow him to talk right now if the board.
Yeah,
wants to.
I would like to hear.
Yeah, let him talk. Let's hear him.
Robert, are you here? Robert, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
The reason I say do not do any corrective work is multiple reasons. All the proposals that are being made by paving lady at building 131 are a joke, to put it lightly. As far as any other corrective work that paving lady has a list of already, don't let them do anything. A lot of that work is in a larger area of corrective work that has to be done, which include some of the smaller items they have on a list.
What about, I disagree. What about the current situation? We got to wait another 2 months?
Yeah, but what if they do it wrong, Lenny?
I think we should do something right now.
What other area right near there needs to be addressed that this would interfere with?
I'm not sure if Dan is watching today, but he and I have had multiple discussions many times. That entire stretch of new paving in front of, I guess it's building 130, 31, and 32 is unacceptable from curb to curb. So fixing a little 20 by 10 area or 5 by 5 foot square area is not a solution because most of that work is unacceptable anyway.
Yeah, it's a temporary solution to resolve a problem that we have here, Robert. And it'll be resolved in the future, but something's got to be done now. We can't wait another 2 months before someone falls and breaks the behind on this. I'm sorry. I think we decided to go forward with a simple solution. If it works, fine. I don't disagree.
I think, Marvin, given what Robert just said, I think we could draft a letter to them stating that we want them to take temporary action to alleviate the condition. We're not considering that a permanent resolution to it. And that's something we'll discuss at a later time.
That
But
makes
for
a lot of
now,
sense.
From a safety standpoint, we need to take temporary action to get that water out so no one trips and falls.
I would agree with that.
Okay, what
Me
I'll
too.
do, Hal, I will type something, I'll send to you so you can modify and then we'll
No
send it
problem.
out.
No problem. Robert,
That
with
works.
Right now.
Okay,
And,
would that resolve both issues, Robert?
I just want to reiterate that Dan and I are ready at any time to meet with the board or specifically the outside engineering firm.
Thank you.
The two, as you guys mentioned earlier, there are two separate entities that are required. One is a testing company for the cores, and another one is to be an outside third party to take a look at the area. And Dan and I are ready at any time to walk with them. We talked about this 2 months ago. I'm not sure why something hasn't been done, but that's not my call. There is, I would say that Dan and I, we could probably tell you 40% of this project needs to be replaced. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, but something for the future.
Let me tell you,
Excuse me, please, please.
the project we paid for is so bad that the typical items that will be on a punch list are the good areas. And I'll leave it at that.
So it's your opinion that we do have to get a third party to look at it, just to reiterate what we've been
Absolutely.
saying.
Dan and I can't sign off on anything. You need someone with a professional engineer's license and it's going to be acceptable.
So Robert, what I will ask you is, if we send you these 3 proposals or 4 proposals when I have them, would you be able to guide the board on which engineer to go with?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And we're gonna send them all the stuff that Ingenuity sent us to take a look at the daily
Yes,
log.
I will send, Robert, what I'll do, I'll send you and Dan an email that has a link that has all the documentations for the paving project, along with the new contracts when I receive them, so you can review and give the board your suggestion.
Very good. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks, Robert.
With
So,
that, with that
do we
being
need,
said,
do we need to vote on Monday on these proposals? Or we can just go ahead and do it, right? For the 131, the thing we agreed upon?
well, 131 for now, we will proceed with the, let's call it the free
But we
option.
don't need to vote on Monday, right?
No, we will proceed with the free option. Hal and I will write up something that we will send over to Ingenuity and Paving Lady.
Any other questions from anyone? No
Anyone
one?
in attendance has a question? If you're on a device, you can raise your hand and I can allow you to speak. Otherwise, I think that should be it.
Okay.
All right, I got no.
Thank you,
questions,
everyone.
folks. Have a good day.
Goodbye, everyone.
Okay,
All right.
meeting adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you all. Good seeing you. Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe.
You too, Al.
Okay.